This
Mastermind
conference
call.
will now be recorded.
Thank you, Joy. And
Mm-hmm.
so anything that you can think of, we try to cover in our Power Monday Mastermind calls, and we really want everyone to please observe a few housekeeping policies, if you will. If you would be so kind as to mute your phone unless you have something to say. And also we ask that please, 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 if the presenter is talking, you put something in the chat if you would, but do not interrupt Glenn while he's speaking. I would greatly appreciate that. We would all greatly appreciate that. And if you're moving around, you're making a lot of extra noise, mute yourself. Be courteous to everyone else on the call. So right now it looks like we're at 11 individuals on the call, and usually, it grows. It's just now 9 o'clock or 9:03 California time, Pacific Standard Time. So please, 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 everyone, if you would be so kind, mute your phone unless you have something to say. Please don't interrupt the presenter. And we greatly appreciate the fact that Mr. Glenn Sterling is taking his time out to come on this call and share his knowledge, his vast knowledge of, I would probably say, I don't know, how many years? 20 plus years, Glenn?
About 20 years, yes.
20 plus years in the in the business arena. And, I will let him tell you the things that he does prior to, getting into explaining how he can help you if you take a moment during this period of time and just listen to what he has to say. So everybody, without further ado, we have Mr. Glenn Sterling on the line, and if you would just pay attention and learn something, I think it's going to be an awesome call for everyone. So, Glenn, take it away.
How's everybody doing this morning? I know you guys
think most people are muted.
They're muted, yeah, right? Okay. Anyway, I'm Glenn Sterling. Probably been in business for the last 25 years or so. I work with setting up corporations, and we first started many, many years ago and going out and putting postcards out to get people to incorporate their businesses. And we started doing nonprofit corporations, and then went into doing profit corporations and LLCs, and helped people that were in sole proprietorships to kind of see the liability they were in. But then we went into doing taxes and accounting and also handling some. I had some lawyers working with me, and we did some of the legal stuff that corporations go through. So I have a lot of experience in dealing with lawsuits and dealing with different things that can affect your business and in a positive and a negative way. But first of all, I kind of want to break everything down to basics. We want to talk about what is a business entity. Many times you go to the banks these days or go different places, and they want to make you the business entity, make you a sole proprietorship, when a corporation is actually a separate legal entity. Corporation, a limited liability company, and nonprofits are all separate entities. Once they get a tax ID number, they are a separate legal entity and able to stand on them by themselves. They can enter into contracts. They can be sued. They can do pretty much everything that an individual can do. And I notice when I go to the banks these days, a lot of the people that are there, they want to include you and make you the corporation. They want to make this a sole proprietorship and not a corporation. I had a client that went to the bank a couple weeks ago, and he had a personal check, and his corporation account somehow or another was overdrawn, and the personal check was written out to him, and the bank would not cash the personal check from somebody else that had a bank account at that bank. They wanted him to deposit that check into the corporation, which is really totally illegal, basically, because the corporation is a separate legal entity. It is not you. And the officers and the directors manage the corporation. However, the stockholders own the corporation. And a corporation can also be owned by other corporations. I mean, you could set up another corporation in another state, in another place that could literally own all the stock of your corporation, and you could manage it and be the officers and the directors as well. So the biggest thing that I found in saying all that is that most people form these corporations and they forget about doing all the stuff that to keep them in business. And some of those things these are all compliance issues that if you don't keep them up, guess what? They're going to take and they're going to suspend your corporation. So your compliance issues are: did you file your tax returns? Did you file? Most states have a statement of information, an officers list that you have to file every year. Some states have, like California, we have a franchise tax board. And the franchise tax board here is set up that if you don't pay their franchise tax or if you don't file your statement of information, they will purposely suspend you because they charge penalties and fees to make money for the state. So when you go to revive the corporation, you have to pay all those fees back as well as the taxes to get your corporation revived. So those are areas. One of the biggest areas that I found over the years is that people come to me and their corporations are suspended, and it's not because they're so busy handling business that they don't take the time out to every year or every month sit down and do the compliance that's necessary to keep the corporation in business. I have a situation right now where this is a corporation that's made a lot of money, and they're in the process of dealing with a lawsuit. Well, the minutes of meeting, annual minutes of meeting, and minutes of monthly meetings need to be completed every time you have a meeting. That's a legal document that needs to go in that corporation book that you got when you formed your corporation, if you're incorporated. But those are all key things that you have to keep up with that sound very minute, but there is a lot of value in that, because if you get sued, the judge is going to may ask to see your bylaws. A lot of these companies out here today, they want you to have basically just get the articles of incorporation done. You know, we'll give you the bylaws and we'll give you the minutes, and all that stuff is all not filled out. And to be a bona fide corporation, those documents need to be prepared correctly. They need to be filed in your minute book, and because they really mean something going forward if you get in lawsuits and so on and so forth. Because lawyers are going to request it, the judge is going to request it, and they want to see that you're an actual functioning corporation. And the biggest thing you don't want is for them to pierce the veil of the corporation, and they can come after you as an individual because you haven't kept up with the compliance. And once the corporation is suspended, they can literally come after you as an individual and sue you personally and take away your assets. Okay, so why do you incorporate in the first place? And you incorporate in the first place because you want asset protection. You want to secure the fact that nobody, if they sue you as a sole proprietor, they can come get your house and everything else. We've seen situations where people are sole proprietors and they want to, a hair salon, for example, that serves liquor to all of their clients that come in there, that while they're getting their hair done, they're having a good time, drinking and so on and going on. Well, somebody goes home and has an accident that night. Guess what? That sole proprietor is liable for all the damage that night that they can prove. They're going to come after them because they wouldn't have had to drink there. They would not have had the accident. So I always recommend people, if you're a sole proprietorship, become a corporation. All right, I want to move on now. I'll move on to how do you build your corporation financially. Okay, one of the ways is establishing corporate credit, but that's not the only way. But as corporate credit gives you the ability to have some money coming in while you're earning money, or while you're financing receivables and doing the necessary things you need to run your business. Um, so first of all, in building your corporation to establish credit, you need to establish a corporate presence, which is corporate address, corporate telephone number, corporate website. You need to be listed in directory assistance, have a corporate bank account. One of the things, people come in here, they've gone all year long and they haven't opened up the corporate bank account. They've been commingling funds within their personal name, having a personal bank account, trying to run a corporation. You have to have everything in the name of the corporation. The bank accounts need to be in the name of the corporation. Then you need to do tax returns, balance sheets. All those things are important, and all those things are what creditors are looking for when they want to fund you to become to get a line of credit or to get credit cards, so on and so forth. The next thing, you have to build your personal credit. If your personal credit is not good, you're not going to get corporate credit because, again, they're looking at the person behind the corporation. Now, I know I just said that you got to separate the two, but in the beginning, you may have to become the co-signer for your corporation to get the finances that you need to operate it. And in doing that, by being the co-signer, what I mean is that you come in and use your credit score to give the corporation credit. Now, once the corporation has had credit for so long, maybe 6 months to a year, you can ask for them to give that entity separate billing, and separate billing means that they give it its own account. And once the corporation gets its own account, then it moves on from there. Now, I've seen situations in the past, in years past, you could go into a car dealership and lease a car in the name of the corporation without a guarantor. Now, I've done that several times before in the past. And you basically have to take they want to see your bank records, they want to see your balance sheets and your articles and how long you've been in business, and that good old thing called the minutes that basically says the corporation authorizes you to enter into a contract with Lexus Financial, Mercedes Financial, so on and so forth. But leasing a car through a corporation is a tremendous benefit to you tax-wise because you can then write everything off. Okay, so building your corporation financially. You want to start with that establishment of your corporation and where it is, and show that it's on directory assistance. That's another way they want to check you, as well as a website. Next thing, you want to get planning together. You want to do a business plan. And I don't recommend that you go out and spend a whole lot of money doing business planning. I think the business plan needs to come from the person who is orchestrating the corporation. They need to sit down and write out a plan, whether it's a 3-page plan or a 50-page plan. They need to write out an outline as to what you want to do, where you want to go, how long you want it to take you to get there, and how you're going to get there, and how much money do you need to do it, and where you're going to get the money from. Most of the time you'll find out that the only place you're going to get money from is you self-funding it yourself. And because most people aren't going to, SBA and all the rest of them are not going to want to give you money up front to finance you because you're pretty much unproven. Many years ago, when I had my first corporation, and I didn't really know what I was doing and so on and so forth, we went to the Army Exchange, which is the PX offices for the Army. And they had all these offices, all these stores all over the world. And we had a game that we had invented and had brought it to manufacturing. And the Army ordered, one day I was sitting in my office and they sent a UPS truck out. I had a UPS truck show up with about 50 boxes of purchase orders. And these were like 50 boxes, but there were multiple purchase orders in there. There was probably $1 million in purchase orders in those boxes. However, we got in and looked at it, and accountants came in. We looked at it, and there was no way we could fulfill the order because they wanted 90-day net. They wanted 90 days before we could even bill them for the games, and then they wanted another 120 days after that to for them to pay us. So we would have been out of a lot of money, and it was really so sometimes I look back. Sometimes now I say that might have been a good problem to have because I have a lot of knowledge now. We could have got financing and different factors and different things like that. But at that time, it was going to cost me probably about $4 or $5 per game to manufacture all those games. So you figure that's about $4 or $5 million we'd had to spend and wait over 6 to 9 months to get the money back. So we kind of passed on that deal. But I mean, those are opportunities that may come, and it may look like a good thing, but it may not be a good thing. You have to sit down and really put a pencil to it and see that it makes sense. So in planning this, writing your business plan, you got to take all those different kinds of things into consideration because the business plan, I've noticed may change daily. I mean, different things happen and change. I mean, so those are areas that you really have to internalize when you're writing the plan out. Budgeting, okay? What is your cost of doing business? All right. What is your income going to look like? Your personal income. How are you going to take an income out of the corporation, or are you going to pass on your income to help build the corporation? You got to look at your income, and you also have to include your tax in that and your personal tax. What's your income tax going to be on the money that's coming out? What is the cost per year, per month, per week, per day? I always try to tell people that I always base it. If you base it on $100,000, just round figures, $100,000 comes out to $8,000 a month. It comes out to $2,000 per week, $400 per day, and $50 an hour. So if you're trying to make $100,000 a year, well, you got to do $8,000 a month, $2,000 a week, $400 per day. So how many widgets do you have to sell each day to make that $2,000 per week and that $8,000 per month and $100,000 per year? And if it's $200,000, you got to double that. So those are some kind of the numbers you got to kind of play with, and you play with them and figure them out and get them in your heart where you know that you can make it. And sometimes, and then you got to chart it all. You got to put it all on paper. And every week you need to stop at the end of the week and say, how many sales do I have? What did I do to get here? And adjust your plan to make that work. So all of this is kind of a start to get your business up and running and going and getting everything lined up on paper as to what you want to do, how you want to do it, and where you want to do it, where you can get organized, where you can literally see what you're doing. The next step is going to be to market and manage your corporation. And, one of the things that I always tell people is that you have to plant seed to get a harvest. And if you don't plant any seed, you're not going to get any harvest. I was at a service yesterday, and I had the minister was speaking on seed time, harvest time, and he said that he was eating an apple, and he said this apple sure is good. So he took another bite and told the Lord, he said, this apple, oh man, it's real good. And he finished the apple off, and the Lord told him, he says, now I want you to look in the apple, and I want you to see that there are seeds in the apple. And behind every blessing comes a seed. And if you take that seed out and you plant that seed, you will get a harvest. Well, it's the same thing in business. If we put seed out, we're going to get a harvest. In the old days, we would send 1,000 mailers out, and 1,000 mailers would bring us back maybe 1%. 1% of that would come back as prospects, and then it was up to you as your ability to close the sales. 80% was a good closing ratio that you could close and make sales on those numbers. And when you started doing that, started looking at it from that perspective, 1,000 mailers went out. That was your seed, and that seed turned into some people called. And what happened if you kept doing that? Some people got mailers in January, but they weren't ready to buy until March or April. But if you did 1,000 mailers a month, guess what? Every month you're building up your return factor, and sooner or later it's going to start to give you clients, and clients are going to start to give you business. And then you don't necessarily need to be dealing with loans because you have income coming in. So those are some marketing tips that we had. Don't be afraid for outbound call outs. I mean, when you meet people, whenever I meet people, whenever you go to places and you meet people, I always, if I have an interest in doing business with them, send them a handwritten note or give them a phone call. Stay in touch with people that you meet. And a lot of times you have to go places and work the room and meet people and give them your card. And I guarantee you that people will start, if they have a need for your service and your card is there, they will call you to do business with you. Another area is basically you got to turn information into sales. When you have information that comes into your office, look at it. I mean, people send you mailers. Look to see what they can do to enhance your business, or do they need your products? So those are some areas in just turning around and doing basic. I'm giving you basic stuff that you can do to kind of build your corporation to the point where it starts to make money. The biggest problem you're going to have is you got to stay motivated. And going through all the things that I've talked about are going to create a lot of different factors. There's going to be seasons of disappointment, seasons of discouragement, and you have seasons of success. And when you're going through the seasons of disappointment and seasons of discouragement, you have to keep fighting on, because you might just be one call away from making a sale, or one call away from doing something that's going to make your business big. And there's nothing wrong with operating small and going big either when you first start out. Just for example, I'll share this with you. Several years ago, I had a contract with a major school district to handle all of their employee benefits. And I'm a licensed insurance broker, and we also do insurance through our business for our clients. But what happened there was that I had a virtual office at a place. We had all my phone calls went to a live answering service, and the phone calls would come in. They would call me to see if I wanted to speak to the person that was on the other phone. If I did, they would transfer me the call, and we would handle it. If I had meetings, had virtual offices, really all over the country that I could go meet with people in. But in this particular case, I could meet with them at an office that was close to their facility. So it made my corporation look very big, even though we were very small. But we were able to get into that contract and do a good job and make money. So it's not about, it's a lot of times it's not about having a big Wall Street office. You can work out of your house, have a virtual office, which gives you the presence, which gives you the ability to attract customers to you, and really, if you have the professional tools to work with, it can be a great advantage to you. So what I would like to do is, at this point, if it's okay with Pascal, to kind of open it up, and let's have some questions, and I can answer them if I can, and we can move forward.
Absolutely. If anybody has any questions or what have you, you can simply unmute yourself, ask any type of business question, whatever it may be. Glenn will answer that. There's also Joy on the line, Nicole's on the line, I'm on the line, and we're here to answer and help you build your business in any way possible. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to do so. And I think everyone, let me make sure everybody's not on mute. So I think, Joy, if you can check if you're on your computer.
Yes.
Yes, Joy is far more tech savvy than I.
Everyone's unmuted except for the computer folks, which I can't necessarily tell if they are or not. But a good question for the audience is that to know if we do have any sole proprietors on the call, or if you've already incorporated, or if you have an LLC or a nonprofit, and where a little bit about your business and where you stand right now.
Okay. I do have a question for you, though, Glenn.
Sure, go ahead.
And that question is this. So in your experience, what is it that you have found that has given you the greatest amount of success? I know that's kind of like a broad thing, but what I've always found when I talk to people that are in business and that have had different levels of success, there's always one underlining factor that they're able to pull out. And what is your underlining factor that you've been able to pull out from your years?
Well, I would say, I'm going to be very honest with you. Back years ago, when you're doing your marketing and you're doing it when you have your business set up and you're sending out the mailers and doing the touches, and I call them touches because for every I figured this out because for every and bear with me now, I say 1,000 mailers. 1,000 mailers could be sending out 10 mailers a day. All right, you may not have enough money to do 1,000 mailers right off top of the bat because that's about what's 49 cents a stamp. All those mailers together, but you do have time to do 10 a day. And I would send out 10 mailers a day, and you start getting a response back. Okay, that was basically when we were doing business without a computer. Okay, now if you're doing email blasts and you start to get back your email blasts, then you have customers coming that way. But I would say, we would do the mailers, and the mailers would come back, and then you'd have an appointment to go deal with a client. The school district came as that was probably the biggest sale that I've ever had, but that came as a part of going different school districts, find out when they took bids in, and being able to talk to the right people to make that happen. But you'll find out that once you start getting in to the big jobs like that, they're not as difficult as you would think, because basically you're dealing with people. and you have to go in and make presentations, and you're not making the same presentations you're making for your employer right now. If you're working for somebody, it's going to be the same presentation you're going to make for your business. And I've always tried to make my corporation my employer and really not be the owner of my business. All right. Because that gives me a good mindset that I got to go to work every day like I normally would if I was working an 8 to 5 for somebody else. So in doing the hard work, that's what has given me the success every week or the success every month. And you got to be able to take the ups with the downs, the good with the bad, because you're going to have some bad times too, and you got to be able to cover yourself when you're going through the bad times.
Absolutely. You know, with what you're saying, I'm going to say that what I've always found but haven't always adhered to is that it takes the same amount of effort to get a $150 client or a $75 client as it does to get a $500 or a $5,000 client. And that's what's always, amazed me. But for some reason, I still, I don't know if it's a level of fear or whatever. It could be fear is within all of us when it comes to, the unknown, I guess. But what I really have found is that what you're talking about, so nowadays, yes, it's going after, as opposed to using mailers, which is actually still a good idea, everybody, believe it or not. Using mailers, you're using, the internet to go after clients. But the thing that I find is, once again, is that if you're going to go after someone, go after the people that have an interest in what you're doing. So if you're doing business services, go get a list from your local county of all the new businesses that have been opened up in your county. Every county across the country will provide you a list of people that have filed. Every state in the union, you can get a list of everyone who's incorporated in the state. And if you don't want to go directly to the state, there are a ton of companies out there that will do all the hard work and give you and sell you a list. So it's a no-brainer. And as Mr. Sterling was saying, honestly, just once you get that list of qualified people, in other words, people, if you're into whatever it is, there's a list out there that you can purchase, whatever you're thinking about doing. There's a list or some place to go get that list. You can even, just go through the local directories online and pick out people. If you're in the hair business, you can go through the local directories and find people that do hair in your, in a 10-mile, 20-mile, 30-mile radius. Whatever you're thinking about selling or marketing, you can find people that want or need your service just by going online and looking up online or buying a list or whatever it is. And then, as Mr. Sterling was saying, just reach out to those people and find products that you can sell that will give you value in return. And as Mr. Sterling also said, it is a freaking process. He didn't say the freaking part, but it is a freaking process. But you got to do it every single day, because I believe that it's worked for me, and that allows my fat butt to sit at home for the last 8 years without having to work for anybody. And I'm literally sitting on my sofa as we speak, and I make money virtually every day. And when I go after larger clients, in other words, people like products that I can sell to people that are larger, like a $5,000 product, it takes me the same amount of effort as when I'm selling my something for $150. It blows me away. So I'm sorry, I wanted to interject that part.
So you're absolutely correct, and one of the biggest sources for leads is sitting in your neighborhood right now and it's free, and you have no idea it's the library. If you go to the library, they have every business that's in your area that does what you they have consumers, they have businesses, they have names, they have uh, websites, they have phone numbers. But those are the things that you have to do. That if you go to a marketing company to do it for you, they're going to do the same thing that we're talking about, but they're going to charge you. So it's real easy to we're talking about something that's real easy to do, but most people won't do it. But you got to go spend time in the library, and that may be time that you got one day. You just got to take off and go to the library and get the names, or go get 50 names and work those, and go back and get another 50 next week and work those. And that's all the things that help you build your business and get it to a point where it's making money. Now, I wanted to say one other thing. Most independent business people get on what it's called a rat wheel. And I don't know if I call it a rat wheel, but it's really a hamster wheel. If you ever look at a hamster who's spinning the wheel, and the problem is that the sole proprietor is spinning the wheel every day, and he can't see anything other than what he's spinning, and because he has to operate the business. And so you have to have an exit strategy, and the exit strategy is to develop people like yourself that you're able to get off the wheel and put them on the wheel to spin while you build another division or another entity, because it's really all about, in the end, is having people creating jobs and having people working for you. Because if you have people working for you, then you can take a vacation, you can kind of relax sometimes rather than have to do all the hard work yourself. So duplicating yourself is another key factor in business. And you got to be able to trust people, that you can be able to trust them, that they're going to do the right thing with the knowledge you give them. And some will, some won't, and so what? But you got to go through the numbers to find those that will work with you to help you get your dream, make your dream a reality. And in return, you got to help them make their dream a reality. So,
absolutely. There's something else I wanted to touch on, which is part of what you were speaking about earlier, which is making sure that you get your business listed and so on and so forth. And one of the things that everybody on this call can do and should be doing is you can go to Fiverr, FIVERR.com, and you can put in on Fiverr. There are a lot of providers on Fiverr that will get your business listed everywhere that you want it listed. They will, for anywhere between, on average, they're between $25 and $45, and you will have all these different providers on Fiverr that will get your business listed in all the directories for you. So if that's something you don't even have to do. You want to make your business look like a big business, like you're really doing something, get yourself a business phone. Honestly, you can use your cell phone, but if you really want to step up the game, get a line from Vonage. You can get a line from Vonage, and the magic of that is you can get the line from Vonage and have it directed directly to your cell phone. So, and then you take that Vonage line and you take whatever address you can get. As Mr. Sterling was talking about earlier, somebody's making a lot of noise in the background. If you would not, I would appreciate it. If you could simply do the Fiverr thing, get listed everywhere. For $45 or $25, whatever vendor you choose to use, they will put you in all the Yahoo, Bing, Google and the 100 other online directories that are there. They will also list you in just in the Google Maps, Yahoo, and Bing Maps. I mean, there's a lot of different places you can get listed online, Manta, and it just makes your business look like a real business, because when a lender especially does what's referred to as a reverse search on you, you want, if they put in your phone number, you want your entire business to show up. You want everything about your business to show up in the directories, right? You want your address. If they put in your phone number, your address shows up, your business name, your business website, your business email, and that's another thing. Please stop using Gmail as your business mail. Just spend the $12 or $13 a year, buy the domain name for your business from GoDaddy, which is what I use, and then spend the extra couple of dollars to get yourself, so like mine is Pascal at Vanguard Global LLC. Yours could be, John, Becky, Bill, whatever it is, at whatever your domain's going to be. And it just adds that extra level. A lot of people use Gmail and Yahoo and Ymail, whatever. But if you do use, it just looks better. Lenders like it, banks like it when you're utilizing a domain name. It's just a better look, in my opinion, and from what I've read and from also talking to various lenders. But just, use these basic things, spend the money on Fiverr. There's people that'll do all the work for you. I mean, it's simple. Okay, so I'll stop talking. Lynn, do you have anything else to add?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, I think we covered a lot. I mean, it was. I wanted to talk about structure, and I was kind of trying to rush through it. The accounting process, which is very, very, very important. You have to know what your business is doing monthly, weekly, annually. You can't just you gotta close the month out at if you work for a company, they would always close the month out every month. What was the revenue? What was our expenses? Where are we to plan? And those are things that you have to do as your own business person. You have to put those, even if you don't have a whole lot of data to do that with, a whole lot of money to do it with, where you haven't made a lot of money, you didn't make, but you still need to put those reports together every single month to get in the habit of doing it, so that once your business takes off, you're in a habit of doing it. And if you had 5,000 come in that month, well, where'd it go? And make sure that you're charting where it went, because at the end of the year, when the taxes come up, you need to put all that in your tax return. And if you end up getting audited, you need to be able to have the receipts and have everything to back all that up. Now, just so you know, corporations under probably $1 million don't get audited, okay? Sole proprietors get audited all the time, because the IRS looks at them as being easy pickings, where they don't have lawyers and accountants and all that good stuff. Whereas corporations, they have accountants and they have lawyers, and usually they'll go to the accountant's office to do the audits. So you kind of want to keep good records. Even like I say, if you're a sole proprietor, you definitely want to keep good records. And as a corporation, you want to keep good records just in case the IRS does audit you. But you want to have accountants come in and do an audit on your books to make sure you're in line and in compliance and doing the right thing. So that's. I'll close out with that. That basically, you want to make sure that every month that you're able to document how much money came in, how much money went out, and whether or not you're making a profit, because that's going to allow you to see what you can purchase the next month. You may need equipment, may need supplies, you may need things that you have to do but it'll keep a better handle on your business.
So for those individuals that can't afford an accountant or whatever software, what do you suggest that they do at this point in time? Because a lot of people just they can't afford that in their beginning stages. So what is it? I mean, you do accounting and all that. What do you suggest?
It's called Excel spreadsheet. You got to get your bank statements every month. You got to sit down and put in. I would take an Excel spreadsheet, put at the top income, and basically look at your what you want to do is use your bank account statement as the guide, because once you get the bank account statement, it's going to show, you had $100,000 or you had $10,000 or $5,000 came into the account, and then it's going to show on the next line how much went out, and so you got to make that sheet there balance, basically taking everything off of your bank statements and putting them on the Excel spreadsheet, and then you can list to the side. It says you went to Staples. Well, what'd you go to Staples for? And just put a note off to the side. Or I went to did entertainment. Well, if you did entertainment, who did you take out, and what was the purpose of it? So that way you have all that information. So 2 years down the road, if they come back and audit you, and you're trying to remember who HC and Associates was, because they didn't really, they went out and spent your money and went to restaurants with you, but they didn't buy nothing. You kind of know who they are because it'll trigger you because you put it right there on your Excel spreadsheet.
And so every computer has Excel, I think, right? I mean,
I'm sure. I mean, Excel.
Yeah.
If not, if you don't have Excel, then you gotta go buy some. You can go to Staples and buy some paper and do it. I mean, it's real simple. I mean, but you got to keep some type of records so that you know what's going on, and because you look up and get to the end of the year and say, well, where'd all the money go? I don't have any money left. And it's because you were spending money and you weren't aware of. You're spending more money than you were making, and you weren't aware of it. And especially if you have loans coming in, and you look up and be in a heap of trouble down the road because you didn't monitor it every single month. And if you're not good at it, you need to hire somebody that is good at it, that can literally come in and do your books once a day, or take a day, or so on and so forth. Now we do books. We're gonna start doing books for small businesses next year, and I'll be doing them using QuickBooks. So that's something to think about.
Glenn, if you would, I mean, right now and at the end of the call, go ahead and if you would give out your information to people so that anyone can call you if they so desire.
Sure. Yeah, name of our company is Business Incorporation Nation, Biz Corp Nation. We handle incorporations, all states. We handle accounting. We do small business accounting. We do taxes for small businesses. We also do the compliance and the revivers for companies that are suspended. We do group insurance. Like if you have two people within your corporation, you're eligible to get a group health insurance plan through Kaiser, Aetna, or through Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Anthem, or whoever. And that plan is totally tax deductible on your income tax. We do retirement plans, key man insurance, buy-sell agreements. Like if you have a key man in your business, you may want to insure him for $1 million for whatever his value is. If he dies and you're going to lose that value, that insurance policy will pay the corporation that money. So that's kind of something I don't like to talk about, but that's real. Those are most of the areas that we handle. Our phone number is, I'm going to give you 818-280-6154. I'm also going to give you a cell number, which is 310-867-1161. And I give that to you again, 280-6154, and my cell number that's for the business is 310-867-1161. And we are at 9700 Reseda, Reseda Boulevard, and we're in Suite 209 in Northridge, Northridge, California, 91324. And our websites are www.bizcorpnation.com.
So I have another question for you. So what is a key man, and why is it important to get insurance on a key man? Or key man, key woman. Let's be politically correct on this call.
Okay.
We don't want to just be throwing out key man. Key man, key woman.
Well, let me give you an example. I had years ago. I worked as a sports agent, and we had a professional athlete who had just signed a multi-million-dollar contract with a baseball team, and the ball club wanted to insure his life, that if something happened to him, that instead of them having to pay the contract to his wife, that the proceeds from the life insurance policy would pay off to her. Okay. So we insured the policy for the amount of his contract, and if in fact the ball club had to pay it, she would have had to pay income tax on the money. And because it was she became the beneficiary of a life insurance program, that money becomes tax free. Well, to make a long story short, he was killed that year, and this was about 15, 20 years ago. He was actually killed that year, and she was able to get the benefits of the life insurance policy without having to pay taxes on it. Otherwise, she would have had to pay what's called inheritance tax plus income tax on all the money that was made.
So in effect, the key man or key woman policy is simply you're insuring the most important value or person of the corporation or of the business or what have you.
Let's say you're the key man, and you're the one bringing in all the revenue. Okay, if you die, the business goes out because nobody knows what you know. And the business could collapse probably within 6 months because you are the key person of that business. Okay, it's like a televangelist. They are key people of their ministry. If they die, that ministry can go under. So you insure that person for $1 million or $2 million or whatever the value is. And if the person dies, it can either go to the wife, if you want to say that, or the husband, because they don't have to pay the taxes, or it can come to the corporation can be the beneficiary of the money as well. And if the money comes back to the corporation can function while it's trying to regroup to get back on its feet.
Absolute. And we've all seen that happen many a times in the world, whether you realize it or not. People.
Now, one thing I want to say this to you too before we go. The best thing to do if you got it, let's say you had $1 million that came back to the corporation, you don't want to take that money and spend it on expenses for the corporation. That seed money, I would take it and invest it in, let's say, mutual funds or something that's a growth and income account that's going to bring the corporation money every month. So if you had $1 million and you put it in a growth and income fund and it was paying 10% per annum, that would mean that $1 million was bringing in $100,000 a year for the business. So that money would continue to come forever because as long as you're getting 10% on it, you might get 12. I mean, but you'd want to get an investment advisor at that point to advise you on what to do with that income versus spending it, and in a year that money's gone.
Absolutely. So, it would bring to mind a few other things that I just wanted to cover real quick because a lot of people tap into this call for funding advice. What would you give to people as far as funding advice and going after business credit and that type of thing?
Business credit. Well, the business credit. First, like I said, you first have to have your corporation set up right. Second thing is you got to be whole as the person being the guarantor. And when you start to get business credit, you literally have to manage that money. You can't just get it and because it's there and go spend it. You have to manage it and make sure that you use it for the purposes in the business that you need it for. If you're behind, like let's say you have a contract pending and you're trying to cover expenses till you get that contract funded. Okay, well, that's a good thing. Well, you got to get the money to pay the bills so they don't kick you out your office and all that good stuff. So you'd get a loan. Now you can get a credit card to do that. I've seen people do it with credit cards. I'm not a fan of SBA loans because SBA loans you got to put up collateral and could be your house or whatever. And if your business is shaky, you could lose everything. But revolving credit, that's one thing. Credit cards, I mean, it's a little high interest rate, but you don't want to keep that money out. You want to get it, and when you get the money back, you want to pay off that loan, pay it off, get it paid off, because that's going to boost your score.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't do it where you're going further and further in debt. And I've seen people that they want to go and get all this business credit, but they want to live off the credit rather than live off the income that comes in from the business. And you got to be careful with that because your mind will say, okay, the bills are made. I don't need to make any money. And your business will shut down on you. So,
absolutely. I'm going to tell everybody, like, on my own personal experience real quick, just to kind of to go with the point that you're making about, a fool in his money or a fool in his credit, departing one another. Because I was that fool. I had raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, about $400,000 in credit cards and all business line of credit cards. And then I had probably, I don't know what it was in corporate cards, not anywhere near as much as I did in business credit cards. But, back in the day, you can get money from KeyBank and other places and, like liquid cash credit cards with a Visa on them. And the thing is, I was making good money. We had a business that was doing the medical supply business that was doing between, high 300s and 450 a year. And back then, it was good money. I was making money easily every month. And the thing that was, though, is I had all these credit cards. And what I would do is I would go out and we'd go on vacation or whatever the case may be, and I always was Big Willie. And the thing was, though, when business tightened up, when business slowed up quite a bit, I had hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt that I couldn't afford to pay. And it's just not a good look. And it was so stressful that I had like these like pains just running down my arm. And I went to the cardiologist, and he was like, yeah, stupid, that's called stress pain, because I thought I was having a heart attack 4 or 5 times a week. And it was just like all stress, because I literally, like, I had a $30,000 Chase card at one point, and I remember just going out. I was a lot younger, but we went on vacation, and there was nothing buying the bar when all my cousins and all that were around because I was Big Willie. So yes, a fool and his money soon part. I'm just telling you from personal experience. So it is a very wise thing, and I believe I'm much wiser as a person to really utilize the monies that you get in business lines of credit or credit in general to make yourself money. Spend that money, right? Spend the money that you're making wisely, though. Don't use the money that you're generating via credit to just be an idiot, to be wild. And, I had a bunch of property at one point in time and did the same thing. I would pull 70 grand out of a property. I tell you, literally, I pulled $73,000 out of a condo I had in Moreno Valley, California. I can't even tell you where that money went. And it was just like, ding, gone. It was gone quick, fast, in a hurry. And I looked up one day, and I was like, didn't I just have that? And it was gone. So a fool and his money soon part. And I'm just telling you my personal experiences because I think it's imperative that all of us, take what we've learned today on this call and take it to heart. Start logging down everything. Use the Excel spreadsheets. If you don't have any money to pay somebody, use Excel spreadsheets and log everything, because there's nothing like visually seeing where your money's at to make you tighten up. I'm just telling you, when you can see that you just spent X amount of dollars on eating out or something stupid that you could have not done, it makes you look at things differently. But if you don't see it in front of you, it doesn't mean anything to you, if that makes sense. You literally have to see it. So with that said, Glenn, everybody, if you can give out your information one more quick time. Joy, if you'd give out your information. Nicole's on the line, if you'd give out your information, and then I'll give out my information. And if you need any type of help building and developing your business, please give one of us a call. Somebody's making a lot of noise, and I wish you could not. So if you would please give out your information, and anybody, I'm just telling you, we are here to help you. We will answer any questions you have. It doesn't cost you anything. Obviously, if you want to, we would love for you to purchase our services, but we are all willing to help you as much as humanly possible to help you build your business, to start making money, because that's what it's really all about. We want to help you. So, Glenn, one more quick time, if you can give out your phone number, and then Joy, sure, if you can give out your information, and then Nicole, who's also our partner on the Power Mondays Mastermind. Everybody go sign up at PowerMondaysMastermind.com as well to be to stay up on the calls and what have you. So go ahead, Glenn, give your information, please.
Sure. Again, it's Glenn Sterling, and it's 818-280-6154, 818-280-6154. I can be also, if you want to send me an email, it's Glenn, Glenn, at bizcorpnation.com. And that's
okay, awesome. And Joy, if you can give out your information, please.
Sure. My name is Joy Sterling. My number is 818-877-0290. Once again, that's 818-877-0290. And my email, you could also reach me on the Power Mondays Mastermind email. That's Power Mondays with a S, mastermind @gmail.com, and just put attention Joy, and then I'll receive it. Thank you.
Okay, Nicole, are you there? Okay. trying to. All right. Well, anyways, Nicole's information is Nicole Tarver. She might be muted for some reason. This system that we're utilizing. So Nicole Tarver, 872-207-4096, 872-207-4096, and that's for Nicole Tarver. And for myself, you can reach me at it's Pascal, Pascal, Mansell, Mansell, and my number is 951-515-4728, and once again 951-515-4728. And you can also reach me at the Power Mondays Mastermind at gmail.com, and we don't use that Gmail for external business, so that's why we're using a Gmail. So Power Mondays Mastermind at gmail.com. And please, if you're interested, sign up at PowerMondaysMastermind.com. And if you have any questions or you need help building your business, you need help going after setting up your corporation, if you need help with developing business credit, corporate credit, what have you, you can give any of us a call. We'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you so much. This call is over. And Mr. Glenn Sterling, thank you so very much. We really appreciate you coming on the call and sharing your knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.